evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Sports Exchange. Am I loud? Loud enough? I don't know. I had a great Motor City Mad Mouth show with the one and only Tom Shanahan. I had a great show promoting a couple of his books, and we are back at it. Tommy will be a future guest on this show here tonight. Meanwhile, let's bring back the old Wednesday group. Jacob Christner wasn't on last week, but better than ever tonight. Welcome back,
Well,
Mr. Christner.
it feels good. I'm back and fresh, and life is kind of moving the same way again.
Beautiful. All right, Chris, my favorite piazza or pizza, whatever you call them. Glad to have him back. Yeah, glad to have him back on the Wednesday show. His facial expressions when I get through the non-sports topics are those for the ages. And look at him. He's already scratching his head. What am I in for tonight? Oh my gosh. I don't get nothing like this on my show, on my network. Of course you're not, Chris. We don't get nothing like this on your network.
Hey, as long as George and Jacob and Candy are here, I'm good.
Good, because you just see me from losing a voice. We got George and Candy are here. Thanks for making those introductions. There they are, brought to you by Chris Pizza. All right, with that said, let's get to it. We're going to go with some easy ones tonight, though, as we lead it off. And we'll lead it off with a baseball topic. Once upon a time, the LA Dodgers were 7-0. But guess what? Okay, that's not how fast you start. It's where you're at now. The defending champs are currently 84 up, 67 down. What are your thoughts, George, about whether the Dodgers have what it takes to finish the job?
Well, I'm never going to count them out. Obviously, they're the defending world champions, and we've talked many times about the injuries. But, yeah, it's been quite an interesting season, and it certainly has not been what most Dodger fans expected. You know, you write those big checks, and you're expecting win after win after win. Well, it doesn't come that easy. There are a lot of hungry teams out there, both leagues. But to answer your question, yeah, Scott, I think the Dodgers are going to be still very dangerous in the postseason, but they're not going to do it from a superiority, if you will, of finishing with the best record in the NL. We all know Candy's team is going to be that. So all this being said, Dodgers, they got a shot still. Not as good as they did, like you said, Scott, when they started 7-0.
Candy?
You know, they're in. If we ended the season today, the Dodgers would be in. I mean, any team that gets hot now is gonna be the team to beat. Like, and it could be any one of us. And it could take is one injury that would, a predominant injury that might hurt one of the teams. Obviously, you don't want any injuries, especially in your pitching going into this time of year, because that's what really is gonna could make a lot of difference. Pat Murphy recently was talking, and he said one word to describe his team right now, and that's competitive. They're competing no matter what, and that they have that competitive edge about them. They're not the highest payroll, they're not the flashiest names, but they're in and they're competing, and that's what's important this time of year.
Jacob?
That I can just imagine the Bears pressers when they're like 0-7, they'll start saying competitive also. But ridiculous. But really, overall, the Dodgers, yes, they can, just because they have that experience and you can get hot at any time. But one of the issues I have with it is the fact that you were bringing up fans. Fans have this thought process because you make money that you can't be human. The Phillies are exceptionally hot. They can easily do it. And the biggest thing about it is the fact you are a target when you're a World Series champion. It is exceptionally tough to repeat. And really by itself is like, here's the deal. This is where I get irritated with fans. In about 8 to 10 years, they're going to say, oh my God, we made 8 years of World Series, 4 World Series, do it. That was wonderful. Right now, they're like, we're dead. They're that. And it's a pain in the butt to watch. It's like, but that's just reality. Yeah, they're a target. So, yeah, they can get hot and they can be able to do that kind of stuff. But the injuries come, and then here's another thing. They don't have a bullpen. So they're going to have to hit a lot. So we're just going to have to see. And as far as Milwaukee, here's the thing about Milwaukee, Candy. And I got to say this part. They miss a lot of first-rounders. They miss a lot in the first round. The thing about it is the fact that, mind you, they want to win the World Series. Don't get that wrong. But all Pat Murphy has to do is win a series. and he will get he absolutely positively, and he'll get great, and everybody will love him. He'll get extensions. He'll get everything because he finally did what so many did not. So he's playing with house money. He just needs to win one. As far as the Cubs, it's been too weird of a year. I don't know.
Okay, Chris.
Listen, the Dodgers are the defending champs. Obviously, that's number one. Number two, so they got the pedigree. So I think offensively they're going to be fine. Jacob brought up the bullpen. Absolutely, that's been their shaky point this year because their rotation is healthy now. Now you got Yamamoto, you got Snell, and you got Glass now, right? 1, 2, and 3. And you could throw in Kershaw as your number 4 starter. That's pretty good. And he's been pretty solid coming back this year. So they're definitely going to be a problem in the playoffs with that starting rotation. Right now, they're lined up to play the Mets, I think, in the first round, in the wild card round in LA. So anything can happen, obviously, in a 3-game series. So, but the Mets aren't playing that good. So you would think the Dodgers are going to move forward at least out of the wild card round, and then who knows what's going to happen in the divisional round. But with those horses in the rotation, I mean they could match up against any team in the league, and we'll see if their bullpen settles down and just plays or pitches up to their potential. That they're going to be back in the World Series, but we'll see what happens.
Well, part of the reason they had that 7-0 start is they got a 3-game sweep with the Tigers at the beginning to begin with. But after that particular point, give us that look. Georgia doesn't have it. It was just a 3-game sweep at the beginning and not the end. But in the end, the reality is the Dodgers know that a 162-game season is a 162-game season. We all know the one thing about baseball, compared to other sports, is marathon, not a sprint. We'll leave it at that. Lots of other topics I want to get to. Wanted to lead off with that. We're going to be bouncing around a lot of different sports tonight, as well as a lot of different things, so stay with us. The NBA is returning to NBC an 11-year deal that'll have Michael Jordan on the broadcast, and Carmelo Anthony, Reggie Miller, Mike Tirico, and Noah Eagle, and among those joining the NBC Universal this fall. So, George, what are your thoughts about this group that they have?
I'm very pleased. I really am. I think that NBC obviously had an unbelievable run with the NBA back in the day. And of course, Marv Albert and others were involved back then. But Mike Tirico is so solid. I mean, Mike can do any sport. We've seen that, as well as anchoring sports. Noah Eagle has been around several years now. I'm very impressed with his work. I think he's going to do fine. And a lot of the other commentators and play-by-play guys that they're releasing names of soon. But the thing is that, they're going to go and they're going to show primetime games in the regular season, okay? ABC did that too. I know that. But NBC is going to get a big boost on that because NBC hosts the Olympics also. The NBC's got the NFL Sunday night package, as we know. And, I think it's going to be a really great opportunity for NBC to get back into the pro basketball game. I'm looking forward to it, Scott.
Candy?
You threw out some pretty big names that played the game that are going to be on the broadcast. I like some of them. I like when you have former players because they give insights that if you didn't play the game or that you might not really know or realize. So that's good, but I don't know that I know them as broadcasters to know if they're good enough that I would sit and listen to them broadcast. There are some former players that I would rather turn the radio version on some of the other sports and I'm not going to even go into what sports I don't like certain announcers for, but kudos to them for NBC getting them because those are some pretty big names that'll help them with their viewership just by name dropping.
Jacob?
Yeah, John Tesh gets to retire now. But no, the big thing about it, this is what I would like to see. People, they remember the music, remember the games, remember all that stuff. There's a new generation that can watch all of these these games. Now they have their favorites. And we got the last year of LeBron. And I don't think any of us are going to miss him on here, but still they will. But see, this is the thing. I would love to see NBC for their first one do a package, just like to try to get everybody anticipation. Because between NBA and CBS and NBA and NBC, the packages, the slow packages and the slow burn, I think that's something that really needs to come back a little bit, get the heart racing, get all that kind of stuff like that. It's like they're afraid to do those packages because they're afraid they're going to lose people. But there's more people in this generation that would really enjoy that to get to that moment. Because right now, NBA is pretty boring. It needs something to really get an anticipation.
Right. Okay. Chris?
Yeah, I'm with Jacob. I really haven't followed the NBA in probably over 20 years. And I used to love the NBA. The last time I probably watched it was when they were on NBC. And hopefully NBC can bring back some of those fans that kind of left over these last few years, because it's gotten boring. And there's obviously everybody knows LeBron, but after that, if you're a casual fan, there's no more big time superstar that you're watching the NBA for. Like back in the day, when Jordan was around, you had Jordan, Bird, Pippen, Magic, all these superstars that you were watching.
Thomas.
Say again?
I said, don't forget Isaiah Thomas.
Yeah, that guy too. But yeah, no,
he was a star.
Yeah, no, early 90s, yeah. And actually, the microwave actually went to my high school. So
awesome.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah. So I think the NBA has gotten really boring lately, and I think a part of it is that they don't have that one superstar that people can watch all the time. I know LeBron. Everybody knows LeBron, but LeBron is at the end of his career, right? He's got another year, maybe 2 years at best. So I think they got to get another guy that's going to be the face of the NBA, so people will tune in every whatever they're going to do.
Yeah, I was waiting for George Eichhorn to get that Isaiah Thomas. That's why I wrote this. Have this hat. Really? Seriously? Really? He's not on here. You sick man. He's not part of NBC.
Well,
yeah, open your mouth.
He should be.
He's not going to work with Jordan, right? There's no way he's working with Jordan.
Size 11s do go through computers. I don't know how, but when I invent one, I'll make sure it heads your direction, you sick man. Really? Seriously? Really? Don't worry, Chris. It's intended for him. You know why the NBA's gone to the toilet? Load management. Load management, people.
You're taking my jokes now.
Yeah, come on.
That's the truth.
That's something Jacob would say.
Load management.
Yeah. But
Jacob's feeding him the jokes right now.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's like,
and you know what? You know what the D stands for that on that hat? Called dunks, not the Tigers, because you even mentioned him in there. You check them in. No, load management. Okay.
But I do have one thing here too. When the first NBA and NBC happened, they had Bird, Magic, and Michael for one of the years, and Bird and Michael for two. To be able to, and they would put them on every week, and that brought the ratings.
Yeah.
There's only going to be one more LeBron in the middle. There's not the same amount that would get to that, and they need to start learning how to build stars and build anticipation and be able to do all this. It's like Bird, like I said, Bird and Magic first, and then Bird, Magic, and Michael first, and then Bird and Michael is the second. And Bird, one of the greatest games I ever saw in the NBA and NBC was Bird and Michael. One had 38, one had 34. And Boston won, and it was in the Garden. And like I said, you don't have, as I said, and you wanted that game is on YouTube, by the way. It's an amazing game. But that's the big thing. Is like, okay, people know LeBron. No, but it's like, what else is there? And you have an 11-year contract. You need to build stars. And anticipation builds stars, and all these TV producers are too darn afraid to try to build an anticipation for something. And you got to realize, you're not going to be able to build it for the 15-year-old, but there's us 47, 45, 50, 42, 43-year-olds that remember all this that will still watch.
Yeah, but you know what? You got to build stars, but guess what? The stars have to play, people. They have to play. Load management. You ever heard of that I remember watching those Wiz commercials, ring around the collar, ring around the collar. Now that's the only thing you're going to get out of a singing song to me tonight. And George ought to know it's called blue collar, blue collar. And if you don't have ring around the collar and you're wearing a white shirt, it's called white collar. Get the message. Show up, NBA guys. Otherwise, nobody will frankly care anyways. Oh, I'm just getting warmed up tonight. So let's go ahead and stay on the broadcasting name. There'll be a lot of that tonight. We're going to New York, people. New York MLB talk. Well, yeah, we'll do that on Friday night when I mix it up with a New York City loudmouth with the Motor City Madmouth that's on the center stage tonight. And Michael Kay reveals plans that he's going to cut back on Yankee games. He's 64 years of age. All right, Chris, what are your thoughts about Michael Kay deciding to cut back a little bit?
I'm not happy about it. I mean, Michael Kay's been the voice of the Yankees now for over 20 years. Actually, going back to his radio days even further. But yeah, I'm not happy about it because I would think Ryan Ruocco is going to be the guy that's going to replace him. Not really a fan of him, to be honest, for baseball. He does a lot of basketball. Yeah, I'm not really happy about it. Hopefully he doesn't do that too soon. Because I'll tell you, with him and Girardi, they're doing the series now again with the Twins. They are so great together. Girardi's awesome. And then when David Cohn joins the booth, he's awesome. But yeah, if Michael Kay is starting to lessen the games, I know he cut down his radio show too already this past year. He's only down to a 2-hour show, 1 to 3. He does a solo show now. But yeah, not gonna be a good day. Hopefully they find someone else.
All right, Candy, the chat room acknowledge all people since the people in there are being very, very good tonight. What's going on? Joshua Door's in the house. Good to have him. Top paid sports prof, Scotty Slapper. I don't know about that, but I'm not going to complain about race at all. Thanks to Joshua Door for popping in tonight. Jacob, what are your thoughts about Michael Kay backing off?
Let me tell you this. I think we hear one of the things, like, for instance, let's give an example. Chris Fowler the other night in Monday Night Football.
Right.
It's like that gives you an example. They're getting older. They work like crazy. They go on these red-eye flights. They do all this stuff. They go in like a mad dog. They're getting old. Like I said, getting older. And their throats are not going to be the same. It's like you ever see, here's the deal. You see them with a cup, it looks like a coffee cup at all times. No, that's tea now. You know, they're having to drink tea because they're talking all the time. They're having to do everything to protect themselves so darn much. Mm-hmm. I mean, everybody does that and talks multiple hours. And they're having to do this. And plus the fact, you know, if they're on an airplane all the time, they're doing red eyes, they're going to have colds. They're not feeling good.
Yep.
And it's like, this is the thing. This isn't a Harry Carey deal where he was 85 years old and he just like collapsed in the offseason and died. This ain't that situation. It's like, this isn't that situation where, you know, people are looking after their health a lot more.
Right.
They're looking after their health a lot more, and they're not going to go to Vince Scully. That's the thing that's going to be the unfortunate for all of us. We're not going to have the Harry Carey, Vince Scully, Jack Buck, you know, Ernie Harwell. We're not going to have them anymore because they're not going to go that long. It's a lot of these.
Well, they're getting paid a lot more money too, right?
Yeah, they get paid a lot more money, but they're not going to go that long. They're just not. It's like golfers. It's like I saw. I'm just going to give this as an example. They were talking about the top 3 made cuts of all time, and it's on Nicholas, Mickelson, and the player. You're not going to see 45 years out of these guys anymore. You're not going to see these records going to stay because you're going to see it. You're not going to see that in the announcers. You're not going to see that in anywhere because they make so much money and they're not going to wear themselves out. That's probably a good thing.
And also, just to add, Michael Kay has two young children too. That's probably another reason why he's cutting back.
I come from my dad was 50 when I was born, so I come from that, so I respect that.
So, you know.
Well, let me tell you, I've gotten to meet Michael Kay a few times and never met a more classier person than he is. Taking a few pictures with him, nice guy. Yeah, I think family has everything to do with why he's backing off. I applaud him for doing it. We've always talked about family first. Let me tell you, Michael Kay prescribes to that. I met him, one of the classiest people I've ever met. Candy, go ahead. Great comment by both. Yeah, I can't wait to hear the other two. And great stuff in the chat room from Cyberuski and Joshua Dorr. Keep it up.
Michael Kay is an Emmy Award-winning Yankees play-by-play announcer for the Yes Network, who also hosts the network's Center Stage series and its various programming specials. The 2025 season will be his 34th year broadcasting Yankees baseball, The first 10 years were on radio. The latter 24 are on Yes. He was part of the Yes Yankees team that won a 2024 New York Emmy Award for its season-long coverage, a 2023 Emmy Award for its pregame shows. Kay has actually won all kinds of Emmys himself. He is actually in New York's in November of 2016, he was inducted into the New York State Baseball Hall of Fame. He was inducted into the New York State Broadcasters Association Hall of Fame. He's also was awarded the Lou Gehrig Sports Award by the Greater New York chapter of the ALS Association. He's received the Vin Scully Award for Excellence in Sports Broadcasting. So he's obviously had a great career in broadcasting. Jacob, like you alluded to, the time for people to have one career for a long time. I'm just going to put it out there. The Bob Ukers of the world, where he did 50 years, like that's you're not going to see that anymore. That's just that was a great career. It was awesome, but people do burn out, and I think one of the things that most of the general public don't realize how much research these broadcasters have to do before and after the game, and then they go do the game. It's not just going to the game. They're there hours before. They're there hours after. They're on days off to do interviews with the players and talk with the players so they get to know them, so they have the stories to talk about during the broadcast and stuff like that. It's a very time-consuming and very demanding job. So kudos to him for the career that he's already had, and kudos for him to be able to step back a little bit and say, you know what? I also want to have time for my family and my health, and that's important to me too.
Well, let me say this too, Big Candy.
Mm-hmm.
With the amount of money that's around there, and in one case, I'm so happy that everybody would be able to get that kind of money. I would love to be able to get paid like that. Chris would. We all would. Candy would. Scott would. I mean, George, definitely. I'm saying we all would love to be able to get that. Mm-hmm. But the biggest thing about it is there was one thing about the old time when it comes to the announcers. It was like they didn't get paid all that money. They had to do all that work, but when you don't have that and stuff like that, you know it's not there. There's a joy to it. There's a certain level of pressure when you have that kind of money now. That you have to. It's almost like they have to perform all the time. I'm just saying this, being truthful. Harry Carey couldn't go get drunk like that, making millions. He couldn't do it like that. He could not. They wouldn't allow it. There's an insurance on something like that. Mm-hmm. Bob Uecker couldn't be off the cuff, being like he was off those years and stuff like that. It's like it's all the things. It's like John Madden. John Madden got millions in his own way, but it wouldn't be from CBS. He couldn't have done that kind of thing. And boom, bang. It's like. The money now makes it kind of robotic, where they have an expectation that you're going to do things their way. Instead, and it's like it was more fun to be able to listen to Harry just go off the beat and off the cuff, and anybody says you're out of line, I don't care. Meanwhile, the ratings are ridiculous. But it's like there's those type of things. But another reason, but see, there was 45, 50 years, like you were saying with Uecker and all that kind of stuff. There was those. There's just a joy to doing it, even if you had to work, because there ain't any the money for it. It's just, plus the fact that if you get drunk all the time, there's that too. But the thing is, though, as we grew up, there was that joy to listen to. It's like a guy at the bar or your family member, just to be able to get to that. Money doesn't, and I want the money too, but it doesn't make the same deal. So you're not going to see them around that long.
Great stuff for both of you guys. I enjoy watching the dialogue between them. It means that my voice figures will make it through the whole thing. Yeah, without a doubt. So, all right, George, I know you're going to mention earlier how we'll reference, so get it over with.
Well,
let's stay on Michael K first, and see if he can graduate there.
It doesn't surprise me because on July 3rd, 2019, he had to undergo vocal cord surgery, keeping him out of the broadcast booth from July to late August of that season, 2019. And the final broadcast of the Michael K Show was already done. That was on December the 13th of 2024. And the other thing, of course, which was already mentioned earlier, he's got a daughter who's a 12 and a son who's 11 years old. So, yeah, these guys are getting burned out. I mean, they are. It's a very tough lifestyle. There still are some that do it and are able to do it. Multiple sports, it's difficult. It really is. Michael's done a nice job. I don't know much about him. I've never met him, but I do admire his work.
Yeah, I have. He's one of the nicest people I've ever met at New York MLB Talk. Assuming it's Rob, the Yankees booth second best in baseball in New York. Say what you want, but I'm telling you, they're just a great booth all the way around. I think somebody on this panel will disagree with you. And again, there's a little bit of partiality across the boroughs. We'll leave it at that. But
The
yeah, but
Yankees
Michael,
don't have to deal with Frank the Tank, so there's that.
there you go. All right, we'll leave it at that. We defend each
That's
other
true.
in this here on this show. You have the right to defend your Mets broadcast on Monday night, but meanwhile, we have a great show tomorrow night. I should point out. Legendary sports writer Barry Bloom will be on the broadcast tomorrow night. Plan to get him on at 8:00 p.m. Eastern Time, the Motor City Mad Mouse Show. Let's continue the theme. All right. I never thought I'd bring this topic up, but I have no choice. But this is fun. That's why it's on here. Michelle Obama compared ESPN programming to Real Housewives. How do you like that one? Real Housewives, people. If I watch ESPN for an hour, it's like watching Real Housewives in Atlanta. It's the same drama. They're willing because they're yelling at each other and they don't get along. Stephen A. Smith would be a great Real Housewife. And Michelle Obama says this on the Matt Rogels on Watching ESPN via IMO podcast. You know what? I think it's pretty interesting to compare ESPN programming to Real Housewives. That's why I brought it on here, because this is a really different show. All right, Icor, we've been in the business for a long time. What are your thoughts about Michelle Obama comparing to ESPN to the Real Housewives? I know Joshua Dorr and Cyberuski are somewhere out there in La La Land listening. This is definitely a little bit used to what they're used to do, but Real Housewives, when it's talking about these real two guys, anyway, forget about them. Keep the focus on the topic, Real Housewives. George, what are your thoughts about Michelle's observation?
Well, I in select, different times of the day. Yeah, I mean, she could say that. There is bickering that goes on. We all know that. There's arguing whenever you're taking your stance in sports or news, whatever area you're doing it in. You are going to have a lot of back and forth. And they do have some volatile personalities over there, including Stephen A. So, I mean, I could see a little bit of that. Is it all day long? I don't think so. I mean, they've got their other programs or other shows. A little bit of bickering during live play-by-play, but I don't think that's what she's obviously not talking about that. She's going with the anchor and the commentary shows. I could see a little bit of it, but it's far different from what we see with the Real Housewives series.
I'll be honest with you. One of the reasons I turned off ESPN is because I got sick and tired of all the bickering. And when you're dealing with Alzheimer's disease like I am, I don't need the extra yelling. Candy will be the first to tell you that the more yelling it is, the more it sets off migraine headaches. So, I'm not talking politics. I'm talking about Alzheimer's. I'm talking about yelling. That's what I'm talking about. Drama. That's the reason I don't watch it anymore, because I'm sick and tired of it, to be honest with you. Yelling and drama is one thing. Give it to me straight. Give me the facts, and let's not get too out of control with the volume, because if you get out of control with the volume, I don't need any more medication than I'm on right now. My wife has to go out there and go to the pharmacy 9 million times a week anyway. But Real Housewives drama, I see her woman's point. I really do. Candy, go ahead.
There's a lot of different ways we could go with this.
Exactly. That's why you're second. You don't need stats. This is called an opinion.
First of all, Michelle Obama. Yes, she is a housewife, but is she a real housewife? Like, let's face it. She's been in the spotlight. She was the first lady. She's not your normal, typical housewife. So for her to be making some of these comments, and she was never into sports that I know of, was she? And I could be wrong, but
maybe basketball.
Well, and I will say that ESPN has Stephen A on there because he is a personality. His personality, part of it is the allure, is the fact that he can be very vocal. That's what they pay him for. That's right. part of who he is. That's part of what attracts people to watch him. Whether you like it or not, that's what people are attracted to. and watching him and want to watch him. He's very knowledgeable. But Michelle, I wouldn't start commenting about ESPN unless you've really watched it a lot and watched a lot of sports. Because yes, are people opinionated? Are Real Housewives opinionated? Yes, but they're opinionated about different things.
Well, the only reason I mentioned Michelle Obama in basketball is I know President Obama used to like to play the game a lot. And obviously he has a past track record for playing it in his size. That's the only reason I brought it up. But all right, Jacob, I figured this one's right up your alley.
Yeah, she's partially right on something like that, but I haven't heard that she liked sports. I don't know. She may have. But here's the thing. If she'd seen it on TV, it's no question Barack was watching it, and she would walk by. But the biggest thing about something like this is just think of it this way. Rich Eisen, last month, Rich Eisen in that seat, and there's an empty seat where Stuart Scott was supposed to be, got humongous ratings. Huge. People are tired of the screaming and hollering and the annoying. They really are. They do want to that show, they do want to see that sports. They did it for one night, but people want to just see that. That was everybody's morning. You're sitting there because there's no phones and they're looking at the cereal box and then they're listening to the sports. And it's like, I personally don't want to go on an ESPN and do stuff. It isn't that I don't like arguing. I want to argue my opinion all the time, 100%. I get that in shows like this. I get that when I'm invited on places. I get that idea. ESPN has producers saying which site you need to be on for this time whatsoever, and you sound stupid. Sometimes you're going to sound stupid. Sometimes you're going to sound. I don't want to be scripted, and that's the whole thing. They do it just for the 15 minutes, the quarter hour, and it's like that's wrong by itself. And people can tell, and they can see right through it. But everything is a show to them.
Okay, Chris.
Yeah, I'm not into the yelling shows either, so I kind of skip those. I like good discussion shows. I used to love watching Sports Reporters. I thought that was one of the better ones.
Oh, there you go. And you know what, Chris, what we're going to do, by the way, is I'm glad you brought that up. So let me also mention, this is the first of a series of a bunch of media type of shows, and the Sports Reporters will be brought in. But I'm glad you brought it up. Thanks a lot for reminding me, Chris, to do something I was prepared to do. So thanks a lot. That was definitely one of my favorites. But continue on. Good stuff, Chris.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's the type of show I liked, like intelligent conversations, not people just yelling at each other. Yeah, Stephen A. is smart. He is an intelligent guy, but unfortunately he has to play this role on ESPN because that's basically what they're paying him for, right? I mean, that's why he's getting the big bucks, not to sit there and talk intelligently, But yeah, I mean, that's why I stick to MLB Network mostly. For baseball talk and football talk, I'll stick with the NFL Network because they normally have decent conversations. They're not like just the yelling and back and forth. It's not fun. So I skip it, and it's probably not getting good ratings either.
And by the way, we're going to be talking a lot more about Stephen A. Smith throughout the show later on. I want to just make sure we get some of these other things out there right away so we can spend more time on Stephen A. Smith. There's a lot to bite off on him for sure. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about one more thing. We're going to pun it, go to a station break. That's the order that we're going to have. The Oakland Coliseum is going to host 9 Major League Cricket matches in 2025. People are going to use the building. Yes, cricket, Major League Cricket, Oakland Coliseum. What are your thoughts, Mr. Baseball? The Oakland Coliseum isn't demolished yet.
May as well use it for something, right? And I'm sure they'll get a bigger crowd than the A's were getting.
You stole my thing.
I'm sorry.
All right, you're next. So don't worry about it. You'll have more. I know you. I don't never worry.
It'll get better. Yeah. At least it's being in use, so I'm happy about that.
Yeah.
So.
You better transition over to him before you say he steals any more. Don't worry.
Well, the rats that are in that Coliseum might be able to be used for pitch runners. So it's like. But the big thing about something like this is the fact that they had to do it for something, and it's always when you see something like that, it's always going to be something niche like that, because you want to show that it's because remember the whole idea of the place was it was falling apart. If it's falling apart, it's not going to be used for football. It's not going to be used for anything, or even the volleyball. They're going to be finding something to niche. Oh, see, look, then they can get something later.
Candy.
The Oakland Coliseum is set to be redeveloped by the African American Sports and Entertainment Group, which has purchased the site from the A's and the city of Oakland. The $5 billion development will include housing, a convention center, entertainment venues, and retail, transforming the area into a mixed-use district. The historic Oakland Arena will remain, while the Coliseum itself will be demolished to make way for the new project. But in the meantime, hey, kudos to them for finding a way to use, you hate to see buildings, stadiums, whatever, empty and vacant and just sitting there, not being used. So kudos for them to find some way to use them in the meantime.
George.
Yeah, it sounds a little bit far-fetched of an idea, but they got to do something with the facility. And my other choice was greyhound racing. They could have the dogs out there and do a greyhound track inside there.
Who got the dogs out?
Greyhound. I think greyhound train. I don't know about where you're at, but I think horse racing isn't. What happened to Northville Downs? What happened to Hazel Park? I think they're gone, right?
Yeah.
Well, greyhound. So is greyhound. So
yeah.
I think you better remember what state you're in, other than confusion. Sick them head.
Well, the greyhound racing, I did not know it's gone for the whole country. I mean, it hasn't been.
Well, it's in Florida anyway. So our old greyhound track, the Hollywood greyhound track, I think they're using it for a casino down there. I don't know if they're using the hounds. And I'll get me into a greyhound story, because I'll go to El Paso and Warriors to give it to you. But go ahead, continue with your other greyhound ideas.
There's other ideas. Yeah, you could do a lot of other things. You could turn it into a stadium for high schools. Turn it over to the high school district or several districts in the Oakland area for use with football and baseball. But yeah, other than that, no. The building itself, the stadium itself, I don't think it's worth saving. I mean, and you're not going to put that kind of money in it anyways to improve it. So they got to do something with it until the good old wrecking ball comes.
Yeah, I think cricket's not bad. I have a problem with the United States is none of us understand what the game is, but that building is so. I've been in that building before. It's definitely wide enough to hold a cricket stadium. They got a local cricket stadium here at Candy somewhere in Plantation. I've seen that place, never been inside the place. So, yeah, I guess if there's room for a sport that needs a lot of land on the field, that's as good a place as any. At least they're using it.
It's going to get.
You can't say that about the Pontiac Silverdome and all these other stadiums that went without any use. At least they're using the Oakland Coliseum. Go ahead. Who else wants to chime in?
I'm saying that they're going to get huge crowds for cricket.
Yeah, don't cricket short, people. Hey, I'm looking to build a cricket audience. We did cornhole on this. Why not have cricket? Anybody speak English that does cricket? I don't know what kind of a language it is. That's how ignorant and stupid I am.
There's no cricket going on in Florida? There's no cricket going on in South Florida?
I have no idea.
Cricket is basically India and Pakistan as far as the rivalry. So yeah, they'll be speaking English.
Is that what that is? I don't know.
Yes.
Okay.
There you go.
It's just news for me. I don't know. I'm not knocking you people that know it. I'm just saying at least I'm glad they're using the Oakland Coliseum for something. Nobody does a better job with their local facilities in Atlanta than refurbishing them and making them good. And that'll be for another time. We've talked about that before, what they've done. They took the old Brave Stadium and turned it into a great venue for Georgia State football. And they're using those buildings every now and then when they have to tear one down. I get it, but they don't tear them down all the time. But with that said, I'm going to transition over to pundit and turn it over to Jacob. Go ahead, Jacob. Nobody's stealing your thunder on this one.
Well, one of the things also, Chris has seen me go through this quite a bit this week. The whole debate over Jalen Hurts. He's seen plenty of that. And this is the thing. One of the goofy fans, and I love to call them goofy, there's that or dork or loser or however many other words I got for him. They'll say, "Well, he's just a glorified coach on the field. Oh, he's just handing off to Saquon." Okay. All right, moron. Let's see here.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, moron. Let me see here. When they're going under the center and they're going 62, 34, whatever, everything like that, and then they're just leaning over to the next guy over to watch the shift. Guess what? Someone to see someone. Oh, there might be an audible from the linebacker. Catch it, whatever. You know what I mean? That's what a quarterback does. The stats are about 2% of it. The stats are for the nerds. Mind you, stats are icing. They're great icing. None of us have ever wanted a birthday cake that's just sponge. None of us have. We all want the icing. So we're all going to be impressed with 450 yards and 5 touchdowns. Or 4 touchdowns. That was actually Russell Wilson last week, 457 or something. He also lost. And that's the point of everything. The point of everything is to win. No questions asked. And this is the thing that we've gotten with this problem with. And I love fantasy. I play fantasy. And I mean, there's something in fantasy that drives me nuts still. It's like the amount of people that will threaten somebody if their team went bad or if their player went down or whatever. I mean, those are losers.
Yes.
But those are losers. But the big thing I have to say with something like this is the fact that they need to understand. I mean, everybody knows how much I love Caleb. But the thing is, his stats are high and he doesn't win at all. 12 out of the last 13 losses. This is a team sport. It's what this thing should be. What Jalen Hurts is doing is leading a team. He's the one that sees the signals. He's the one that sees everything. I dare every fan, this is the final part of this, I dare every Eagles fan to say, oh, Jalen Hurts will get hurt and then we'll put somebody else and we'll be the same. I dare them. I dare them to throw just second or third stringer Tanner McKee. I dare them. Go home and face, like I'm saying hypothetical, a New Orleans with a Tanner McKee. I promise they'll lose in the last second. They don't. I mean, it's like, yeah, they'll start out 7-0, and then it'll be like, oh, see, and then all of a sudden, 17-14 at the end, they're going to wonder what the heck happened, and that's the point. Then they'll lose 6 in a row. Doesn't matter what their stats are. It's about wins. It's about leading the team. You put a Tanner McKee out there just as a hypothetical, Saquon will get smothered. No matter how good he is. This isn't the Walter Payton world anymore.
Great stuff. All right, time for a station break.
South Florida Tribune Publishing Company published a book, Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. It is written by our host, Scott, the Motor City Madmouth Morganroth, and the foreword is written by another panelist, Mr. George Eichhorn. Talks about their 40 years in the media business and how it has evolved and changed. Go get your copy today. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, and Apple Books. There's also a link on our website, www.southfloridatribune.com, where there is a plethora of great content, so go check it out. If you want to advertise, you can call Scott, 954-304-4941. If you want to be a guest, or you have topic or questions, you can always email us at southfloridatribune@gmail.com. If you'd like to listen to podcasts, you can find us wherever you get your podcast. If you see the red subscribe button in that lower right-hand corner, that means you have not yet subscribed to us. Honestly, what are you waiting for? Just do it already. And then share us, like us with all your friends and family, and turn on your notifications so you know when we go live. And then one last plug. Next week, Wednesday, we are starting a series. We will have a former 1994 Olympic bobsledder on the program, and he is going to be talking about CTE. We normally associate it with football, but honestly, if you think about it, bobsledders, it's really affected their sport, and he is trying to raise money. He's got a GoFundMe. He's trying to raise money because hyperbaric chambers and oxygen help CTE victims. And so he's trying to provide that therapy to people for free. So he is trying to raise money. So it's going to be a series. So tune in next week, Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern time.
Hey, Candy, one thing you said with that is some people just in the rando class, random and everything, they would laugh at that idea. People forget that bobsled tips over and all their heads bang. Mm-hmm. First thing that bangs is their head.
But Jacob, it doesn't even and we think about, if you actually think about it, It's not just tipping over. It's anytime they're going into a curve because they're already moving at such force that we don't even think that their head, even inside their helmet, is moving. And so yeah, like I said, you have to watch the program because we want to really have him tell his story, because there's a lot more to the story that I'm not going to divulge. That it's a really interesting story, so go check it out.
Well, let me just point this programming note out. No Limits will be the show that precedes the Sports Exchange going forward. So this will be a perfect lead into the Sports Exchange on this. This will be a continuous topic until we run out of things to talk about. This is something I gave a lot of thought to, and I'm always looking to, as Tom Gage would say, be industrious. And this is one of those moves where you have to be a gunslinger, and I really am excited about this. Also, Candy Ebling did a great job in the chat talking about the legality of greyhound racing. So I hope you have a chance. Put it up there real quick, Candy. Then we're going to go to our first non-sports topic of the night. So
legality in other states, in addition to West Virginia, live greyhound racing is still legal, though not currently practiced in the states of Alabama, Texas, Kansas, Iowa, and Wisconsin.
They have too many cornfields to be able to do greyhounds races.
Well, okay. We'll take it for what it's all right. Non-sports topic. I'm sure Chris has been waiting for the first one. Oh my God, where are these coming from? Well, this one coming from Japan, Chris and everybody else. The world's largest floating airport in Japan is sunk over 12 meters. It could be underwater by 2056 people. Kansai International Airport is famously built on an artificial island in Osaka Bay, but it's been sinking since it opened in 1994. All right, Chris. What do you think about the world's largest floating airport, man? You looking to fly over there?
You know what? If it sinks in 2050, whatever, it's lasted 60 years. So I think that's a pretty good deal. I think it lasted, right? You got to look at it that way. Well, what do we have? We got nothing. Our infrastructure in America stinks. And I'm sure Jacob would appreciate that. It stinks here. The infrastructure is horrible. Oh, so we could use a little bit of Japanese, engineering over here.
Well, don't worry, you'll get plenty of it on future non-sports subjects. But I thought this one made the most sense tonight. All right, since you segued over to Jacob, we'll turn it over to Jacob.
Well, if nothing else, remember those planes that land in the water? You had plenty of those instead of the regular planes, so they wouldn't have the wheels anymore. Here's, if nothing else, you could have all kinds of Gertrude Ederles and they just swim all the way to shore, and stuff like that if they wanted to do something like that over there. But one of the things is, you brought this up, Chris. You brought this up, though. It's the fact that, things kind of stink. And this is what I'm going to say, Chris. I want to see, forget the whole thing of the politics for a second here. You're in New York, okay?
Yep.
Remember the whole thing with LA and the bullet train, and they took money away and all that kind of stuff? We heard the news and everything.
Yeah.
If President wanted to really be a troll, he could just go himself and do what he did with his ice skating rink back in '84. Build it himself. If he really wanted to troll. But that's where vengeance and stupidity come into play, because we need things like that in this world. It's like, we didn't need the slowdowns and all that stuff, just bringing that part up. We didn't need that, but we do need those kind of trains. So if you're a builder, go build it. That's all I'm saying. So, but we need infrastructures like that, just like you were saying with Japan.
Okay, Candy?
So, as I'm reading about this floating airport on an artificial island that is sinking due to the natural compression of the soft clay seabed it's built on. Since its opening in 1994, the airport has sunk significantly, and although engineering efforts have slowed the sinking rate and efforts are underway to manage it, experts warn parts of the airport could be below sea level by 2056 if the trend continues. It talks about, I'm amazed. It was a $20 billion floating airport. In 1991, the terminal construction commenced. To compensate for the sinking of the island, adjustable columns were designed to support the terminal building. They are extended by inserting thick metal plates at their bases, but it says that it's lowered by 12.6 feet since 1994. So the landfill began. I mean, I'm just thinking if we built an airport over here on a landfill or something, I mean, but my question to you is, we've seen where cars now will drive us. Do we really think there's going to be a need for the airplanes, or is there going to be by 2056 some kind of how should I put it? Let's Jetsons mobile that'll take us, that we won't even need airplanes, and then we won't even have to worry about this. I don't know.
I just like the look on your face when I come up with this stuff because you're perplexed every time and you just wonder, oh my gosh, that's good enough for me. Sometimes body language means it all. So let's see if Icorn can top that. I love it when I come up with these things. I read them so I don't have to comment on them. If they were, that's why I put them on the show. But it's the other people, the reactions in the room that have me curious week in and week out. Oh my gosh. And go ahead, Icorn. I'll give you the last word about the floating airport.
Well, I never heard of this idea before. I mean, it's very, very unusual.
Okay.
The Japanese are very crafty. They're very good at engineering, just like the Chinese are and the Taiwanese people. A lot of great thought goes into these things in Asia. I mean, you'd be probably willing to try anything as long as it's not human life at stake here or anything like that when you try something different. But I really think that this is very, very unique, and it really is something that you have to really have to see it to believe it, I guess the saying would go. But I would really have to take a look and see it, though. But it's crazy, man. It's a weird one, Scott. You really picked out a good one, though. This is very unusual, and I don't like autonomous cars either. So that's another subject for another day.
Well, go to Google and work Instagram harder, and you'll see it. Sick them head.
25.9 million passengers went through that airport last year alone.
Really? Wow, there you go.
It is the third busiest airport in Japan.
How many swam there?
No, give her no time. Don't even give her more time to come up with it because I know she will. Okay, she will. She's the greatest researcher
exactly
I've
how many.
Jacob,
4,222,000 just swam there last year.
Oh, okay. Well, if you incite her to research, you'll be past your bedtime. You promised me a whole show. Don't go there. But I'll tell you where we are going to go. We're going to Iceland because it's the only country in the world that doesn't have any mosquitoes. George, what do you think of Iceland not having any mosquitoes?
I love it. I love it. Those little buggers always come out there in the summertime in Michigan and elsewhere, as we know. That is a pretty cool thing not to have any mosquitoes bothering you as a country. That's amazing. And I really am for it all the way. I don't like them. I never have liked them. And but then again, people will tell you otherwise, that, well, it's part of nature and the mosquito helps with something else. Maybe it helps the bee population, whatever. But no, I'd rather have that. No mosquitoes. Sign me up to Iceland for that.
Well, no, we ought to fly you up.
Fly
Then you won't be able to go to any of your sports events, your Polish Hall of Fame and everything else, but it'll be all right. Should move there. I'll tell you, I love it up there. Iceland's my new favorite place that I've ever been to. No mosquitoes. What a beautiful thing. All right, Candy, you were there. We didn't see any.
We didn't. I mean, Iceland doesn't have them, and it's because its harsh, cold, and unpredictable climate, marked by frequent freeze-thaw cycles, prevents the insect's life cycle from completing. Even though there are plenty of suitable water sources for breeding, but they have other, let's face it, every place that you go has positives and minuses. You know, some places have snakes, some places have different kind of spiders. Like some places have hurricanes, some places have tornadoes, some places you're going to have good and bad no matter where you are. But the fact that you don't have mosquitoes and you don't have disease carrying mosquitoes as well makes it a good place to live if you want to be in a place that gets cold a great part of the year.
If you want serenity, you don't care for sport, go to Iceland. All right, Jacob, what do you think?
Well, if you have an entrepreneurial spirit, the first the mosquitoes decide to migrate in there, you go get them coats, make them tiny little coats. They can be able to survive the cycles and then wait till the summer hits. But no, I think it'd be great because personally, like I live in Atlanta, so yeah, we get mosquitoes all the time. It's just a pain in the butt. It's like, and here's the thing: some people get sick from mosquitoes.
That's true.
Some people just have that part, so that becomes a tough thing also. So how vicious they're going to get over the years.
Couldn't agree more. That's why the topic is in here. I hate them. Everybody out there chat, wherever, tell me what you think of mosquitoes. Maybe we'll have a poll question how many people really like them. Guaranteed that'll be easy too. All right, go ahead, Chris.
I don't think anybody likes mosquitoes. So yeah, if you tell me there's a place that there's no mosquitoes, yeah, I'm down to move there. Why not? Well, what's the time difference in Iceland?
4 or 5 hours.
It's only like it's less than London because it's closer. So it's like 4 hours, maybe 4 hours. I think
it's not bad. We could do that. Fly over there. You could live over there. You could get, you could probably stream games. Come on, we could still do this show from Iceland.
Oh, I wouldn't mind doing it. Hey, didn't they once have a chess tournament out there? I think many years ago.
Yes, they did.
Yeah, there you go. So I know my chess back there, but we won't get into that. But all right, but I'll tell you what we are going to get into is my town, and that's. We'll let George Eichhorn do that because that's one of the good things he's good about is my town because he talks a lot about. Just kidding. I haven't seen Eichhorn. I like to bust his chops once in a while, giving Chris a night off and getting his chops busted. But no, all seriously, George, my town. What's going on in Detroit?
Well, everybody's excited as the Lions bounce back with a tremendous win over the Chicago Bears the other day.
Big deal.
People were really excited about that. And how rude Ben Johnson was when Jared Goff tried to go after in a friendly way to shake his hand after the game. And the Bears coach just pretty much blew Goff off. He shook hands with Campbell, but he kind of blew Jared off. But that's okay. There's a lot of bad blood. The fans were very, very rude. They were doing a vulgar chant aimed at Johnson during the game. I did not like that at all. And it's just something that really you could do without. I don't really particularly care for it. Detroit's going to have an unbelievable test, of course, next Monday against the Baltimore Ravens in Maryland. As far as the Tigers go, just briefly, they're really struggling again. I don't know what's wrong. This team seems to want to lose 2 out of 3 more often than they were winning those series, as you know, which was a constant and got them into that position that they're in. But my God, Cleveland is now only 4.5 games, I believe, out with today's win. This race is not over. I'm sorry. Don't count your chickens before they're hatched, the old saying, if you're a Tiger fan. That's it for me. I'll just stay to those two right now. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. All right, Candy, go ahead.
So the Packers, obviously, they have started out pretty good to the season. They did re-sign wide receiver Christian Watson, who is currently injured. And I think that was a really good move. Yes, he's been injury prone. I will give you that. But it really allows him the time to recover and really not rush back thinking that he needs to prove himself this year in order to get a new contract. So there's something to be said about that. I like the excitement that the defense is playing with, whether you're a fan of Micah Parsons or not, whether you think that was a good move for Green Bay or not. They're playing with excitement. They're young. They go in, this week they play, I believe it's Cleveland this week. So the Brewers, on the other hand, they're doing pretty well right now. They won today again against the Angels. They have clinched a playoff spot. They're playing. They're on house money. I mean, they got nothing to lose. No one projected them to be where they are. So they have nothing but upside. No one expected them to do anything. So I hope they go prove everybody wrong. Let's see. I'm hoping that the Badgers will bounce back. They did not fare well with Alabama last week. It seems, and I don't know why, but it seems the last 2 years, the starting quarterback in the first game of the season goes down with injury. And the same thing happened this year. And anytime a school that is not as elite as some of the top tier schools, they don't have the same second tier quarterback, and it's just not the same. So hopefully they'll be able to bounce back. That's pretty much what's happening in my town.
Okay, Jacob.
Well, just to say this, Candy, they had all the news all week long, but no question, Dan Campbell saw Caleb Williams and just notched a W up there already for the week. They just went to the rest. But I mean, that's exactly what Dallas is going to do. That's exactly what everybody else is going to do until he is out. But there's now the good to my town part. Atlanta, they looked good against Minnesota. They looked tremendous against Minnesota. It's like, really, overall, Penix and Bijan might be an absolute stack together. Especially, the thing is, Penix is more of a pocket quarterback, but he can be able to run the ball if he needs to himself. And if he stays healthy, they're going to get dangerous very fast. And one thing to forget, if he's not healthy, that is a division that's always 8, 9, 10 wins will win the division. That's always. They just beat each other up all the time. So even if it's not like it's Easton Stick as your backup, it's Kirk Cousins. So if he stays healthy, he gets everything. They can kind of got to remember Penix is not you don't do an RPO with Penix. He's a pocket quarterback too that can run a little bit. So you could just slip Cousins in if Penix gets hurt. So they look pretty good right now. And even though he's a very expensive backup, and you never know if you trade Cousins. Because but at the same time, do they want the contract? Either way, I think they're in better shape than they would be if they had Easton Stick and Penix got hurt. So Atlanta might have a really good year this year.
Okay. Chris?
Yeah, I agree, Jacob. I like Atlanta this year. Yeah, with us, I mean, New York football stinks already after 2 weeks. Both teams 0-2, and both teams going nowhere this year. So it's going to be up to the Yankees, not really the Mets. I don't think the Mets are going to do much in the playoffs, even if they make it. But just hoping the Yankees bullpen can just settle down. If they could just settle into their roles, like Bednar's already the ninth inning guy. He looks like he's the closer, but the rest of the bullpen has got to straighten out. And if they do, I think they got a great shot to get back to the World Series again this year. So that's what New York fans are going to be looking forward to. I mean, other than the Knicks will be starting soon, and Rangers and Islanders. So it's really about it going on in New York.
All right, what's going on in my town? Number one, earlier this spring, the Miami Dolphins were unwilling to take on any of Jalen Ramsey's guaranteed money to facilitate a trade. Guess what? They eventually sent him to the Pittsburgh Steelers for Minka Fitzpatrick. Oh, poor Minka. He has to come down and play for the old lowly Dolphins. But he was a huge factor in the Steelers' win over the New York Jets. With that said, more power to Jalen Ramsey and Minka Fitzpatrick. You're in for a rebuild, and I can only hope that you can salvage that thing that they had there called a dumpster fire. What else is going on in my town? Well, the stage is set. Saturday night, Miami Hurricanes host the Florida Gators. Should be an interesting contest. Candy and I will be there to provide coverage nationally as well as locally. So
enjoy your win.
Enjoy my win.
Enjoy your win. The Florida's not beating them.
Yeah, no, the Florida Gators right now are in a heap of trouble. And I'll tell you what, it's not going to get any easier. But the Miami Hurricanes are looking pretty good under Carson Beck. Mario Cristobal has done a good job. They have a lot of good players, and they certainly ran roughshod over my alma mater, University of South Florida, on Saturday, 49-12. But that's beside the point. The Canes are looking good. The Dolphins are looking bad, but the one thing they have in common is they play at Hard Rock Stadium. All right, next non-sports topic of the night is this. Since we talked about home stadiums, we're going to talk about homes. Walmart is selling tiny homes for $16,000, 19 by 20 feet, bathroom, living room, bedroom, kitchen. How long can you live in a tiny home, Chris?
I could probably live in a tiny home. That shouldn't be too bad. Listen, Amazon is selling houses now too, those kind of homes. So I think Walmart is smart for doing this. Why not, right?
Right.
I'd be all for it.
Okay. Sounds good. I like that. What about you, Jacob?
Trying to take the people from IKEA. I mean, it's understood, and Amazon trying to be able to do the same thing, but I don't. That's the big thing. If Sam Walton was around and he was doing it, I would trust it. It's like they sell everything, and most of it's crap at Walmart. Between clothes and food and all that stuff, it's crap. And the biggest thing about it is the fact if I want a really nice home, I'm going to go to IKEA. If I would do that, I want to go to IKEA. That's just being very honest. Okay. They're the one that started it all in the first place. Walmart? I go there maybe twice every 2 years. It's junk now. It's unfortunate, but it is junk.
So are you telling me that you couldn't live in one?
Well, see, I would open the door and it'd fall apart. It'd be kind of like a Charlie Chaplin movie. Okay. It'd just fall apart all around me, man. I slammed the door. So, I mean, I don't think so, no.
Yeah, I don't know if a tiny home would fit your personality. But one of the things I'm looking to get done for you down the road here on Live Air is I'm going to get you on a show with a young actress by the name of Rachel Galvin. I'm going to work on getting that connection. I'll do that. We'll have to figure out a time to do it. Rachel's due to come on pretty soon, but with that log jam of programming we have coming up, it's unbelievable. But that hasn't left the back of my mind. You'll definitely get some benefit. All right, Candy, what do you think about tiny homes?
I think tiny homes is a great concept. I think, especially for a lot of people that can't afford big houses, a lot of the homeless people, I would love to see them. Some of the veterans, that can't afford a lot or choose not to. We've become a society of I need, I want more, and I want more, and I want more. And what happens when, I hate to say this, but what happens when you pass away? You have all this stuff and someone else has got to deal with all your junk. Like, do you need the big houses? Do could I live in a small house? Absolutely. Do I want to buy it from Walmart? Not necessarily.
Good for you.
Well, George, I guess that leaves you.
Well,
we went from Iceland to tiny homes. I'll bet you never thought you'd see that when we hooked up.
What about tiny homes in Iceland?
What about not?
There, go ahead, Icorn.
With mosquitoes.
Stole my thunder, Candy. I thought of that also is the homeless. Let's get the homeless off the streets in our major cities. Let's get them. Let's buy some of those tiny homes. And let's get the people there off of those freezing overpasses, underpass, laying out there in the raw cold or in the heat of the summer. We could try some of those tiny homes. Me personally, I probably would not like it because I got too much of that stuff that Candy talks about.
Yeah,
I'd have to part with that. I'd have to give all my memorabilia right over to Scott. I don't know where he's going to put it.
Don't even go there.
Okay.
Candy will do it for you.
She'll get the garbage dumpster out.
Well, I mean, if I'm forced to answer that question, the only thing I'll say about it is if you put me on some land and there's an opportunity to chill out on some land, I guess I can handle one of them out there. A bed out in the middle of the land where it's all peaceful, that's great. I've already fallen in love with Iceland, and when I start traveling more and more international, there'll be other places that I enjoy. Oh my goodness, life as I start to back away and scale back, take the Michael K version, okay? Oh my goodness. International, baby. Make your own kind of music.
You're going to win a Grammy for that eventually if you do it enough.
Oh, I'm telling you, I'm working on that. But I feel like Michael K, he has his voice issues. I have mine too. Make your own kind of music. Yeah, I can live in a tiny home if it's on some land. It's all good. So, all right, let's talk about our feature topic of the night, top sports broadcasters. And here's what we're going to talk about. How Stephen A. Smith, 5-year, $100+ million deal with ESPN compares to other broadcasters. I'll break down particulars. Tom Brady, $37.5 million per year. Charles Barkley, $21 million per year. Stephen A. Smith had $20 million per year. He's number 3. Troy Aikman at $18 million per year. Tony Romo, believe that. Get this, is $18 million per year. He's at number 5. Pat McAfee, $17 million. And he had Shaquille O'Neal. Oh my goodness. Look at this list. I look at it again. $15 million per year. And Joe Buck, $15 million. Joe Buck is Candy's favorite announcer, by the way. Now she just doesn't want to admit it, but so you know what? I'm going to start off with Candy. Since Joe Buck is her all-time favorite, Candy, what do you think of Stephen A. Smith, and how does it fare with all this group? And tell them how much you love Joe Buck.
Oh, I love Joe. Who wouldn't?
I don't.
Yeah.
A lot of people
Yeah.
that don't like him.
Yeah, she's tongue-tied here. She didn't see this curveball coming. Go on, Candy, swing and hit it.
Okay.
Foul
I'll
off.
swing and hit it. But like I said before, Stephen A gets paid for his personality. He drove ratings up for ESPN when other people didn't. Some people love, like Chris was saying earlier in the program, he loves a sports reporter type show where they're talking and discussing things. Well, the other flip side, some people really like an animated, loud, opinionated person. And so, do I think he is worth that kind of money? Absolutely not. But he entertains. And let's face it, there's actors that get paid how much for movies. There's athletes that get paid how much for, and it's a business, but it's an entertainment business because it's entertaining us. They're playing a game and they're getting paid lots of money. So do I think he's getting paid way too much? Absolutely. I think most of them are getting paid way too much. But to their benefit, hey, when you earn it and you earn the contract and someone's willing to pay you, go out and make as much as you can, because you don't know how long you're going to be able to be in that position and in that role. Let's face it, ESPN has cleaned house how many different times?
Right.
So you never know how long he's going to still be there. So go get the money that you can get. If someone's willing to pay you for it, I'm not the one that's paying it. So go earn it.
George?
Yeah, it's mind-boggling. It really is. I mean, Tom Brady, of course, was the greatest, the GOAT. And, what did Fox do is go out there, like you said, and give him 10 years, $375 million. Unbelievable. Not that I don't like him, but I just think that he's going to need a little bit more time to develop. And of course, we all know about his connection now with the Raiders.
Right.
The other thing is that when you talk about guys, you think about the names that you mentioned, Scott. A lot of them are the analytical types. They're the analysts. They're the commentators. Joe Buck, and I know Al Michaels must be up there too somewhere. Those are the kind of guys that I grew up with as far as the play-by-play goes. But it's interesting just to note that, it's the analysts now, or commentators, if you will, that are making more. And I'm not holding anything back. I mean, if somebody's out there willing to pay Tom Brady or Stephen A. or whomever, that kind of money, all the more power to them. I mean, I don't necessarily agree that they all deserve what they're getting, but the fact is they're highly paid because they do something. They bring ratings and they bring the numbers that particular network or sport needs. So all the more power to them, I say, as far as getting that kind of load of money.
Jacob?
Yeah, I don't work. I mean, here's the thing. I can't say anything about this because I would love to be able to be a pundit and to get you, but I just won't ever be with ESPN. You know what I mean?
I know, that's why
I would love to do it. They'd be too afraid of me. So
no kidding.
This
topic was ideally suited for you, Jacob.
Yeah.
I think about these topics real thick a lot, especially when you're on these shows.
I mean, I have two places that's going to ever call me in life, and I doubt they'll do it. It'd be Outkick, and it'd be like the Daily Wire. Other than that, there's going to be nobody. So there's going to be no one. So most likely I'm going to be building my own empire. But the thing is, I don't mind. I don't mind it by itself because money is just such a different way, and you're making it in a billion different ways. Now, it's like podcasting. You're going podcasts along with everything. As far as, the only one that's not doing that is Tom Brady, but Tom Brady has the ownership of the Raiders. So there's that. But everybody else that's doing any kind whatsoever, whether it's Greg Olson, whether it's any of those, we brought up Noah Eagle, any of them are going to have podcasts of some type.
Right.
And all that kind of stuff. There's that money whatsoever. It's just like in the old wrestling days, you did the announcing just like on shows and did all that kind of stuff. Now you've got TV. Now you've got, again, podcasting. Now you've got a billion different ways of getting information out there. That's why there's the extra. And if people are listening, and remember, it's not viewers, it's not Nielsen, it's hits. And that's where the thing is going with. It's like they talked about, and a little thing that comes with it. I was putting this on the poster on Facebook the other day. It's not just like I said, it's not Nielsen. They talked about how many hits like something on Netflix or all these streaming networks get. Number 18 of all time, I mean 2025 right now, is Gunsmoke. After all these years, it's not. I mean, yeah, it's Gunsmoke still. After it's 70, it started 70 years ago. So it's not. So guess what? It's not Nielsen rating. It's not anything. So you have more of an opportunity to make that kind of money. Because you're going to see people. If one of us ever got 1 billion views, we're set for life.
It's true.
So there's that part right there. It's just the way they pay.
All right, Chris, he gave you a lot to work with there.
Yeah, listen, you can't blame them for taking the money, right? Like Brady, you can't blame the guy for taking $375 million from somebody. Is he the best? I think he's gotten better since he first started. He's definitely gotten better. I thought Greg Olson was the better guy. I thought he should have been on that number one team on Fox, but he got kind of demoted once Brady got there. But yeah, I mean, I don't watch the thing is I don't get why they get paid so much, because I don't watch a game to hear anybody, to hear a certain announcer. Like whoever's there, like I'm not going to turn a game off or turn a game on because of the announcer, right? I mean, if I want to watch a game, I'm watching a game, whether it's those two guys or two of us talking about it, right? Because I'm there to watch the game. So I'm amazed at how much these guys get paid. Joe Buck, he is what he is.
Sorry.
That's
hey,
all right.
Chris, how old are you? How old are you? Did you say? I'm sorry.
53.
Yeah. And it's like I'm 47, so we can say this. But here's the thing. Like, for instance, if you go to there's a pile of old PGA tournaments from you can go all the way from the 60s all the way to the 2000s.
Yeah.
And going on. Piles on YouTube. A lot of the old British ones have no scoreboard up. Barely announcers. They say 3 words.
Mm-hmm.
And it's usually, oh, that's so beautiful. And it's like, oh, that was so swang, that kind of thing. They say nothing, and it's quiet. It is dead air, and it's like, and guess what? You and I could watch it all day if we're watching golf. We're used to it.
If you like to it, if you want.
Yeah,
to.
you can. If you want to, you and I could do it because we've seen it. So we've known what dead air sounds like in our life, but there's no way they can get away with that anymore. And it's like, and it's one of those things. It's like you were talking about it yourself. But they do. But what we're talking about is dead air. They can't get away with any of that.
Right.
For what we want to see. So there's where our problem lies. It's the fact that it's not our world anymore. It's like we can watch the stuff from YouTube, but you try to put that in front of a 14-year-old, forget it.
I mean, I'll be honest. I've watched games and I've muted it and put like music on. I've been at that point. Not all the time, but. And sometimes I've listened to the radio calls instead of the TV calls. So
yeah, that's common too. I have seen people do that.
Yeah, I'm just not that impressed by some of the announcers for them to get paid the money they get the money that they get paid. It is ridiculous.
Well, I'll tell you both.
Hanging out in the snow and the cold, they should get paid more money.
Yeah, both of you set this one up really well for me. I appreciate everybody for doing that. Here's what you have. Number one, I've met Stephen A. Smith a couple times. I've seen a lot of people on the air. Bob Lee, first of all, is my all-time favorite. Candy remembers my interaction with him at NSMA. It was unbelievable. And Bob Lee retired after we left, and back I knew he would. Is the best ESPN talent they've ever had. Bob Lee, hands down. Number one. Stephen A. Smith, I'll say this much about him. Doesn't carry a lot of following. I think he's worth a lot of money. But the thing I've learned about him, watching him, and in my couple of interactions with him, is he may be loud, but he researches his stuff. So if you think you're going to get into a screaming match with this guy and think you can beat him at his game when he's researching, you're in trouble. If you don't believe me, ask Max Kellerman, who got run off the network that way. He literally got railroaded off that network because of it. So Stephen A. Smith is definitely worth the money because of what he brings to the platform. Max Kellerman got run off. He's intimidated a lot of people for sure, but I don't have a problem with him. The loud, if that's his style, it is what it is. But the guy on that list that I really think is worth a lot of money is Charles Barkley. And Charles Barkley is a guy that speaks his mind, and a lot of people love and hear what he has to say, and that's why he's in my book. I admire what he stands for. Stephen A. Smith, he wears on you after a while. You just have to get used to his demeanor and how he goes about doing things. We'll continue the Stephen A. thing a little bit. We have 2 more topics I want to get to, and then a special birthday greeting I want to get out there as well. So get this. Stephen A.'s contract perks include his primary focus are obviously going to be on First Take and the NBA. He'll appear on NBA. He'll appear on Monday Night Countdown. The ability to grow his production company, freedom to talk politics and social issues. If he was able to get that in his contract, that was a win in his own right. And I'm not getting into politics on it, but it's the worst kept secret on the planet. He's going to run for president down the road. I think he's using this to set that up. That's one of the enticing things that you have a platform that big, how you're able to do it. Do I need everybody to comment on this?
I brought that up. I brought that up on my Facebook today. Chris may have seen it. I said, if you think that 40 million is big now, wait till he gets a super PAC.
Exactly. So there you go.
One of those, he'll go to the moon.
So yeah, let me finish my thought. But I agree with you. Great minds think alike there. So he's got that platform to set up his presidential run. Whatever happens down the road, I don't get into politics. I'm just mentioning it. But here's a guy. Your win isn't so much the $40 million. Your win really is, First Take, NBA, and that's nothing. But when he has a chance to grow his talk politics and social issues, that's where this whole thing sets in. All right, the floor is yours, George Eichhorn. You agree or disagree? Don't make it long.
Well, Stephen A. Smith, we're talking about again.
Yeah, we got one more we're going to talk about again.
I mean, I'm not at all opposed to making as much money as you can and this freedom of United States of America. Some people turn off. They don't like him. They don't want him. Then you just have to either turn the sound down or you put on a different channel. Is he opinionated? Yes, but so is Charles Barkley opinionated. So is Shaq O'Neal. Right. So, I mean, we got a situation here, and it's just amazing how these salaries have skyrocketed. And the fact is that, he doesn't have a single source for that income. He's going to have multiple sources, and he is looking at the future. I don't want to get into it either, Scott, but yes, I agree that he's really looking into the future.
Yeah, he's just setting up the stage for say it, George. It's setting up the stage for the inevitable. I think we could say that without getting into trouble, right?
Right.
And they got the following to do it.
Right, he does. Absolutely.
And I'll leave it at that. All right, Candy, you need to research this, or do you have an opinion?
I have an opinion. I think if you are on a sports program and you are that you shouldn't be talking about politics. If he wants to talk about politics outside of that, that's fine, because the rest of us can always turn him on or off depending on what it is. Everybody has a right to their opinion, and everyone that has a voice has a right to voice that opinion. It's up to you whether you want to listen to it, as long as you're being respectful. That's the only thing I'm going to say.
No, and I think you're 100% right. Number one, you have streaming and his own production company. And if he wants to talk about it on his own production company, as George and I will tell you, and everybody, that's not FCC regulated. That's a different animal altogether. George, when we were doing our thing back in '79, who in their right mind ever thought about streaming production companies, all that stuff? I never thought that my final stop would be on my own platform doing this, but that's how things work. So streaming his own production company, hey, more power to him. Nowadays, when I had the vision of starting the Tribune years ago, I saw that newspapers were going south, and I quickly turned to digital, and then everybody else started catching on later. Does that make me smarter than anybody else? No, but I saw the direction it was going. So you have to be insightful to be able to know what the inevitability is. And I know, Jacob, you comment on this. Is there anything quickly you want to add to it? We'll turn it over to Chris. And one last thing I want to get to before I send out this special happy birthday. Go ahead, Jacob.
Overall, is you brought up the things with these people. It's like you brought it up with you having their own platforms or everything. But one great thing that I can say with something like this is everybody has their platform and everybody's got a shot. Before it was so, you got to remember everybody. It's like if you try to go like put in resumes for ESPN now, you're a boomer. It's just true. It's like your main thing is to start your own company, your own show, your own empire, if you will, and have them call you. Have them come. That's what my dad used to say about me with dates. He just says, "Let them come to you." It's like it's kind of funny now when you think about the thing, but guess what? That's the way you get the media. That's the way you get everything. You almost build your own stuff and let them come to you.
Well done. Okay, Chris.
Yeah, listen. If you're talking about him running for president or something like that, why not at this point? What is politics right now? Like, what do we, I don't want to get too deep into it, but why not? Why not run for it? Right? Both parties are a mess. So why not run? He's probably got a shot to win because look what's out there. Look what it's become. It's become a poop show. So why not run?
Yeah, but you see all the perks. I guess my question to you, Chris, is you understand the perks where they're in general, where he's getting a lot of other things in addition to these other things. That's what it's all about. Nowadays, if you can get more freedom to say what you want without getting in trouble,
right?
Because you look at all in the last week, and I'm not getting into any specifics, how many individuals have lost their job over an unfortunate recent tragedy that's taken place. I mean, where in his case, he might get away with it because he's already covered his backside. Other people, when they went out on a limb, found themselves out of a job. I'm not divulging anything, but I think a lot of people that are following the tea leaves there can understand that this is where the perks come into play for this guy. He's smart. He's shrewd. He negotiated these in advance. This was an absolute platform that couldn't handle Rush Limbaugh, okay? And now they have this guy who's polarizing. Rush Limbaugh was on their NFL pregame show, and he didn't make it a year. That's what this is about, Chris. It's about the perks and all that. If you don't want to go any further, I'm okay, and I'm with everything you have to say. I really am.
Yep.
So, all right. So one last little fact, and nobody has to comment on it. It is what it is. Stephen A. Smith is being paid more than all but 82 NFL players. That ought to tell you exactly the nature of his compensation.
Yeah.
And we'll leave it at that. So, all right. I know I'm stealing this one from George, but I didn't mention it on football for a reason. So I'll go ahead and mention it now. Happy 100th birthday to Martha Firestone Ford. To make it 100 years old for that woman is unbelievable. You talk about the fortunes of a franchise that has changed when she took over, only to turn it over to her daughter, Sheila Hampford, I think her name is. More power to her. So happy birthday, Mrs. Ford. Hope you've enjoyed it. And I'm glad that you've had a chance to see your team do some well in the last couple of years. All right, George, you can talk about this one.
Well, yeah, I mean, she's an incredible woman. She really is. When you think about the women and George Hallis's widow and the ladies, Frontiera, Rosenblum at the time, there's been a lot of them, and I'm not going to start naming them. But Mrs. Ford, she stuck with it, okay? And my feeling is that, she was maybe a silent partner with her husband. Scott, you would see him in the locker room all the time, Mr. Ford, after Lion games. Mrs. Ford, she's not that accessible, but then again, she's 100 years old. She did a nice thing and smoothly transitioned to one of her daughters. I think it was a great handoff, a great tribute to her, and there's no question about it. She's going to be remembered a long, long time as far as the NFL and women in the NFL goes. Yeah.
Well, where you're really missing it here is when she took over the ownership from her husband, she cleaned house and got rid of a lot of people.
She did.
I remember when she did that. She took control and wiped out a lot of people. This is how my husband ran it. This is how I'm running it. And a lot of heads rolled. I'm not mentioning names, but that's when she put her stamp on it, and we know what the succession plan goes there. So
Yep.
anyway, happy
Yeah.
100th birthday, Miss Ford. Candy, I'm sure you had some pretty nice thoughts about a woman who's obviously a game changer, 100 years of age, woman minority ownership, especially with the female side. A lot of them we're not going to mention. This segment strictly dedicated to Mrs. Ford.
So kudos to her, because let's face it, anybody that makes it that long, like we've all talked about how you hit certain ages and you start to feel it in your bones, you're taking more medicines and everything like that. So kudos to her. She still looks like she was in good health. Over 100 years, old. And part owner. Like I like to see females be successful, especially in the sports arena, whether it be owner, whether it be athlete, and then to live as long as she has. That's awesome. Kudos to her. I hope she lives many more years.
That's why I don't think there's a better way to end this show than with her at the very end. All right, Jacob.
Well, she has to be. I mean, I'm just saying this part whatsoever. She has to be more. She has to be more. Less. Not say more. She has to be less insufferable than Virginia McCaskey was. So, I mean, the one thing is that's a good thing for her. But one of the things about it is we're going to see this a lot more. I mean, look at the three daughters that are running Irsay daughters that are running the Colts right now, and they're 2-0.
Right.
It's like, and if they succeed being that, you're going to see this a lot more. And guess what? There will be people that are rooting for them to have another 4 or 5 win thing. So it goes that stuff. But here's the deal. They get, regardless of it, they do know their football. There are people that throw complaints that they're on the field and they're listening in and they're trying to make sure to see if the coaches know what they're talking about when they're doing it. They stay on the microphone. They have the ears open. And I say this, they've been doing this since they were about 8 years old, 9 years old. They were with their dad the whole time. He taught them the game. They know this kind of stuff. So it's like, I trust them. So it's like, and look what you're having right now with Jalen Hurts. He's got an all-women management group. And look at all the stuff that he's taking care of. So this isn't the world where it's like it's like it's the world where the man runs things. It is by volunteer. I mean, the woman says that they want it, but you don't have to have that anymore.
Right.
It's just a different world. Both sides can do it now.
Chris.
Yeah, I think it's amazing. God bless her, 100 years old, and still being around at 100 is that's a gift in life. I think to be around that long and to see everything that she's seen. Unfortunately, not to make fun or anything, but she hasn't seen her team, get to a Super Bowl or anything. Maybe one year. Hopefully, she'll see it. Maybe this year. You never know. But no. Candy does not agree.
That's a Packer part of her.
I'm just trying to be nice, Candy.
Understand?
Probably not going to happen, but you never know. But hey, God bless her. She's amazing, amazing woman.
Well, you know what? As we get ready to wrap up the show, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to whip it around the horn, and then Candy's going to take us the rest of the way. The raspy part of my voice is about ready to set in. Chris, why don't you let everybody know how they get a hold of you and talk about Friday night show and what I'm in for, what everybody else is in for. I know that you and Rob have been certainly looking forward to this a few weeks in the making, but it looks like we're going to have an opportunity to have some fun, go into more details, Chris.
Yeah, it should be fun. Friday night, 10 o'clock on our show, NYMLB Talk. You can find us on YouTube, Twitter, and also Facebook and all that stuff. Definitely check it out. Scott's going to be one of our guests. We're going to have Anthony Savino, big, loud Met fan. So should be fun. It's going to be a fun show. We tried to get together a couple of weeks ago. It just didn't work out. But yeah, looking forward to it. He's a fun guy. He's a fun guest, and so is Scott. So we should have a very interesting episode Friday night. So definitely looking forward to it. I can't wait for it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to crossing paths with Anthony. I know I wouldn't do this normally the night before a game like this, but I've been looking forward to meeting this guy for a few weeks.
He's a good guy.
Gators and the Canes. No, I've heard nothing but good things about him. And the fact that we'll have an opportunity to be in the same airwaves will be pretty good stuff, especially so 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. Go check him out. All right, Jacob, go ahead.
Oh, I'm on. By the way, with your Mets fan, just I'm gonna make another Frank the Tank deal. Make sure he's not him. ever.
No, he's much better than Frank. Frank the
Good.
Tank is just
He's a moron.
yeah. There you go.
He's a moron. But I mean, he's a moron. He's everything. He's everything bad about
Yeah.
fans.
He's,
And then
he's,
and the front
he's a
office
special guy.
Yeah. No, he's not. But still,
but not. No, I'm saying you know what I mean. Special.
yeah, I get you mean. Yes. I am on Facebook where I do all the philosophies of Greek and literature. That kind of deal like that. No. I'm on Facebook, Jacob Christner. I am on Once in a Blue Moon on Instagram. I am on TikTok. That is Sideline One Sports. I get guest spots in different places. Ryan Neff. I've named a couple others already. And then as I get calls and all that stuff, I think I'm going to be getting a Monday night spot soon, but I'll let you folks know about that. And I just do a couple of things, and I also write scripts, so we see what happens from there.
And again, like I told you, down the road, I'll get you and Rachel together.
Cool.
She's a woman that you can definitely pair up with if you're looking
And
to remain in the entertainment.
And one more thing, I was also at the NFLPA Cancer Society thing. I actually met Ernie Johnson. Real short because he does not look great. And he's very zing, and it's like it was just a handshake and a go. You know what I mean? And it's like he wasn't, but it was nice to do it. I also met Edwin Moses. I met a bunch of old NFL veterans, and I should see some of them at the Super Bowl if I go this year.
Let me tell you something. I came across Ernie the past few years ago, really personable. We spent some time talking. One of the nicer guys you'll meet. Okay,
and don't
George.
forget Marvin Powell. I also met him.
Well, Marvin Powell
over there.
Well, I got news for you. Marvin Powell, my goal is to get him on the show in the not so distant future. That's what we're striving for, to get you and him and I. And Chris, you're going to be meeting some people soon, my friend. Okay, George, go ahead, and Candy takes us the rest of the way.
All right, you can find me on the pages of the South Florida Tribune on the contributors section. And at the end of my column, there's always a link to my book, which is available on Amazon, Detroit Sports Broadcasters on the Air, chronicling over 90 years of sportscasters and the great Detroit history that we have for all of them. And don't forget, you can reach me on Facebook at George Eichhorn or gichorn@yahoo.com. I'm available on X or Twitter at SandGSports99. And also I'm a frequent user of LinkedIn. So trying to spread the word about these great shows, and great to be part of them. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Candy. Thank you, guys.
Right. Okay, Candy, take us away. I'm done talking for the night, if you can imagine that.
South Florida Tribune Publishing Company published a book, Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. It is written by our host, Scott, the Motor City Madmouth Morganroth, and the foreword is written by another panelist, Mr. George Eichhorn. They did a great job, these two. Talks about their 40-plus years in the industry and how it has evolved. You definitely have to, Scott tells some really good stories. Go get the book so you can read them. You can also see a picture of a young Scott with a young Muhammad Ali. Or if you're into baseball, a young Tommy Lasorda. So go get the book today. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, and Apple Books. There's also a link on our website, www.southfloridatribune.com, where we have a plethora of great content, so go check it out. If you like to listen to podcasts, you can find us wherever you get your podcasts. Monday nights, we talk baseball. Tuesday nights, we talk football. Wednesday nights, obviously, you never know what we're going to be talking about on this show. And then Thursday nights on Fire Up, typically it's more sports related, but again, you don't know what we're going to be talking about. The Motor City Madmouth show is always a one-on-one interview show, so go check that out. Scott does a really great job with those. Also, on our YouTube channel, there's a plethora of great videos. Like if you want to watch the band playing the national anthem before the Hurricanes game, if you want to see Mario Cristobal talking about his team after a game, or Alex Golish this last weekend, him talking about his team after the game, go check it out. There's all kinds of. Scott did a one-on-one interview with a baseball player that actually shares the same birth date as Scott. Go check out that video. There's all kinds of great videos out there, so go check those out. I do want to also preview next week, Wednesday. Again, we're going to have a former 1994 Olympic bobsledder, U.S. bobsledder. He's going to be talking about CTE, and it's not always a pretty story. So you got to check out his story. If you want to advertise or sponsor a show, call Scott 954-304-4941. If you want to be a guest or have topic ideas, you can always email us at southfloridatribune@gmail.com, including if you cannot be on that live show, since it's going to air Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And if you have questions that you'd like us to ask the Olympic bobsledder, email us, southfloridatribune@gmail.com. We would be more than happy to put your questions in the chat and ask the former Olympians. So with that being said, Scott, tomorrow night you have what show again?
Another Motor City Mad Mouse show. Looking forward to bringing on legendary sports writer Barry Bloom. Also, a special shout out to Eddie Prather, who did a really great job filling in last Wednesday night. Jacob wasn't there. Eddie filled in on short notice and did a really capable job as well. So we want to thank him for being on. Jacob, I'm glad you're back, obviously, but one thing, we love having you on here for sure. So with that said, that does conclude this edition of the Sports Exchange. So on behalf of George Eichhorn, Candy Bling, Jacob Christer, and Chris, look forward to seeing you Friday night as well. So good night, everybody, and we'll see you next Wednesday night, same time. God bless everybody, and have yourself a great sports week. Bye now.